Hey everybody, this is Talkative Carl back again for another movie review. And today we'll be talking about the sequel to the last movie that we reviewed, Horrible Bosses 2. And this is directed by a different one, a different director. Uh, Horrible Bosses 2 is directed by Sean Ayers, or not Ayers, Anders, I'm sorry. While the previous one was directed by Seth Gordon. But it usually doesn't feel that way because I'm not sure. I can look it up, but uh, I'm not sure like what either one of these directors directed before. But these two particular movies does not feel like any kind of distinct style. It look like it could easily been made by the same person. That's how like just like it doesn't feel like nothing's changed at all. It's like all the same beats, and it's really good. Uh, I laughed my butt off at this. I watched it. I watched this many times, just as much as the sequel. I watched uh, the aesthetic cut of both of these things unrated because I just want to get the full picture, full spectrum of everything. Uh, this is set 3 years after the events of the first film, where Nick Curtindale uh, quit their jobs and decided to go into the business of their own. And they created this shower buddy. It's kind of like a shower head based off like stuff that they seen in like car washes, but they set up this invention for people in the shower. They call it a shower buddy. And you get a nice little cameo from Keegan Michael Key and this other woman that the name I see her and she's a great character actor. I've seen her in like Two and a Half Men and Superstore. What is her doggone name? Uh, Kelly Staples. Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah, yeah, Kelly Staples. Wow, I don't know why I'm shocked by that name. I just don't see her as like Kelly Staples, but she's a very like petite kind of woman, but very very beautiful. I didn't know she has two kids. Anyway, yeah, uh, they play as those two play as like you know, daytime talk show kind of guys, interviewing these three about their new shower buddy. And as they demonstrating how it works, looks like, and it looked like they was trying to like live on camera, you know, as they demonstrating, look like they was giving each other fellatio. And they come up with like the company name with their names together, Nick, Kurt, and Dale, and it's kind of sound if you say it really, don't say it really fast, especially when you're in around people, but it kind of sound like in the word Dale. Uh, and like without missing the beat, because like uh, Kelly's character was looking at Keegan Michael Key's character, and like Keegan Michael Key was like, you gotta change that name. And they, next thing they in the bar and sitting there like just uh disappointed and dumbfounded. It's like, how can we never say that out loud? And it's like, it looks so good on paper. It's like, never not once you, if you even if you had it on paper, you never not once read it out loud or read it to yourself or read it in your mind. It's like, especially if you did it fast, and it's like, and then like, you never, who never, says something out loud. If they're making up a title or something, you have to at some point read it out loud. But anyway, while they're like you know uh you know in like a rut, considering that they put all their hopes into this, so they don't have to be worker bees anymore. They want to be their own bosses. They get caught by uh 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 uh, uh Bert Hansen, uh, played by Christoph Waltz, to talk about the Shower Buddy, and because they had been having trouble finding investors for a long while. Uh, they go to their company, and they meet up with Chris Pine's character Rex, who's the son uh, of this of Bert Hansen, and uh, Chris Pine's like does a great job playing like this douchey a-hole of a character. Uh, just the way you see him like interacting with other people is just like it's like it's like every '80s movie kind of stupid meathead jock kind of situation. You know what I mean? And uh, they want to like do this, make this business American made, and it's like they try to explain like unfortunately this whole American made, or at least the American dream, is like made in China, and it's kind of messed up and true. It's like not many stuff is made in America like that anymore. There's stuff here and there, but by and large, a bulk of it is made in China, overseas. There to be factory created and so forth. But eventually, Bert comes out after they thinking like they're probably talking with Bert. He gave them the spiel about like picking yourself up by your bootstraps, and like I admire you boys, and of course they made an agreement, like he will invest if they make 10,000 units. So they get to work. They started like doing that and hiring people. This is like a funny process too, where it's like what was it? Jason Sudeikis character? Yeah, Kurt. He immediately hires, like as they're interviewing, all three interviewing people, every hot girl he just immediately like hires. As it's like they're trying to explain to him like you realize you can't sleep with any of these women. It's like, what are you talking about? Like that's sexual harassment. So we gotta fire him. Well, you can't fire him now. That's also because you can't sleep with him. That's also sexual harassment. And it's like it's just like a funny scene. It's like you like hot girl after hot girl, and it's like, well, your eyes speak for themselves. They like they're honest. They're like beautiful. So it's like you're hired. It's like well, that was unexpected and uncalled for. It was just like a funny. It was like one of those funny moments. It's like yeah, that's not without missing the beat. He's just a horn dog. So after they get everything, or get a warehouse, get the units, get the employees, they went over to surprise Hansen at the golf course with like a balloons and a cake and everything like that. Which they they definitely like to go overboard with certain things. And after Hansen telling them like, yeah, well, like he pretty much backing out of their deal at the last minute. And since they never signed an agreement, they're at a loss of words. The fact that now they have $500,000 in debt, which now they gotta come up with like a plan. And of course, at first they wanted, at least Dale and Kurt wanted to go to motherfucker Jones because they mostly miss him, but it'd be great to like talk with him, get his input on the subject. While Nick was like, is trying to explain to him, no, it was like, as we learned from anything last time, we're not criminals. We need to find a way to figure out how this guy thinks in order to get our money back. So they go to Nick's former boss, played by Kevin Spacey, uh, Dave Harkin, who's still in prison for murdering Kurt's boss, who first points out to Nick, is like, why would you at least not guarantee a 30% down to cover cost? Now, I'm not business savvy, so I don't know like certain terminology or the ins and outs of how business is done, but I get the gist of what he's talking about. It's like, you didn't make sure you got because as Bert pointed out, it's like, you didn't get a contract, you didn't make sure there's no guarantees, so that way something like this won't happen. I think it was kind of like business 101 kind of situation when you're making an agreement, and so that way you have like a legal avenue in case he tried to back out. You got legal, like a precedent, so that way you can at least try to handle it civilly. But without that, you're pretty much sunk in the water. Now, of course, Harkin's still like in class A ass, because they trying to explain that we thought, we thought we was handling with somebody honorable. And it's like, he's like, no, you all fucking morons. And he's like pointing out, I was like, you think I was such a bad boss? How about you letting down your employees and destroying their livelihood? I think that was a little bit more worse. What you think, Nick? And it's like, that's fair. It's hard to argue with that, but he did kill somebody, so it's like, that's that. But they explained to him that like he's the only person they know that knows how guys like that think, and he's like trying to figure out any kind of legal options in order to get their money back. It's like, and he explains to them, it's like, even if they file a motion, even if you take them to court, they're gonna file his lawyer's gonna file motions, after motions and continuances, long after you guys blow each other's brains out. So, and it's like, and of course he's like pretty much like, he doesn't give a crap what happens to them, but it's like, he points out like his like, so it's like he tries to ask him like, oh, so this means there's nothing we can do? Oh no, I didn't say that. I said there's nothing. There's plenty could be done, but you guys won't do it because you have no balls. So eventually they relent and go to motherfucker Jones, who gives them the idea for 5% of their company, because he always gets them to pay up just for weird advice. And by the way, just a side note, a little fun fact here. This sequel is supposed to be some kind of weird crossover between this and the Hangover movies, where they didn't go through with it, but as I was watching this on Amazon Prime, and one of the factoids mentions that motherfucker Jones would have said at some point in the movie, now get the fuck out, I got 3 other honkies or crackers that I gotta help out with. And as soon as they leave, a few minutes later, you get the 3 main guys from The Hangover, Bradley Cooper, Zach Galifianakis, and Ed Helms sits now in those guys' spots. And it's kind of like, it's supposed to be like a brief cameo, so it's like a kind of sort of crossover, but they never went through with that. It would have been funny, but it's kind of one of those moments that, like, yeah, it's kind of keep those separate. But anyway, he explains to them, okay, how about you knock him out with knock him out, keep him sedated until Daddy pays. So that way he doesn't know what happened, who kidnapped him, and by the time he wakes up, he's already safe and sound. So they went over to Dale's former employee Julia's offices just to get the gas, knockout gas, and uh, it was like a funny moment. It's like as Nick's on lookout while the other two went inside, and they're on walkies, and they keep like talking on the walkies, and they keep using Nick's name, and it's like, and you keep telling them like, stop using my name. We don't know who's on this frequency. And it was one of those phones like you said my name for 5 goddamn times. We just get the gas and and then Julia comes back, who for some reason decided to have because he's in sex addiction, sex ed, sex addiction support group, with her and several people, and I'm thinking to myself like, you choose to go to your office for this kind of group. Usually groups like, because I remember watching Fight Club, and like, just if you ever seen Fight Club, this is a minor spoiler, early in the, just very early in the movie, so I'm not telling you the whole plot, but there's moments where like you see the main character go to these like different addiction groups, and it's usually in like a church or something. And it's like in the Punisher TV series when they go into like the VA groups or something like that. It's like it's usually in like a particular facility, not in somebody's offices of place of work. It's just like a weird choice to have that. But I guess it's just part of making it a funny scene where Nick has to come in to make sure they offers a distraction so the other two can sneak out. And you see Julia, just like with Kurt in the last movie, it's like she's unbelievably hot. So he falls for her feminine wiles. He's having sex with her while the other two wait inside the car, and then it's like, tell me, how was it? It's like niggas are explaining like, oh, it's just like an amazing spirit. She's so open with her body, and it's like it's a night. It's like it took me to a great just like a tender place. And then Kurt, when I'm missing the beat, it's like, it's called the vagina, Nick. Yeah. It was just, and he was like, he's trying to tell like, come on now, it's like, it's just like, it's he said something about like experiences, like that have something like that, and he's something he's never like been with or something like that, he said. And then Dale's like, what, a woman? So it's like, it's just like, it's something like you never been with, like, what, a woman? and it's like, come on, don't talk like that. I was like, whoa, listen to this guy. You sound like you're in love with her, Nick. Are you loving her? Are you in love with her, Nick? And it's dead silent. And it's like, no, Dale, I'm not. I was like that was a really long pause. It was a fucking moment of silence. It was like that was probably my favorite scene out of the entire film. Just that little moment, just to have them roast him for a minute and a half. That was just great. So they got the gas. They went to Rex's place, while like niggas having like constant second thoughts and getting very jumpy, which his friends and motherfucker Jones point out earlier is like, because they mentioned like he asked them, was like, name a kidnapping movie where like the kidnappers didn't end up dead or in jail, and then immediately it's like 9 to 5. I never seen 9 to 5 before. I heard of it, and I didn't know it was like a kidnapping movie, but and then Jones pointed out, was like, yeah, because you're was Jane Fonda, he said, Jane Fonda, I think. Yeah, and it was like, yeah, you're the last man about anything. And it's like he's just like, he definitely is. He's the Jane Fonda in this 9 to 5 type of scenario, where it's like he's last man up about anything. So they slip in uh, and the because the maid, as she's went inside, they followed her inside. Uh, I think the maid was played by, I know her freaking name, but it slips my mind. Uh Dang it, I don't want to mess that up because it'll sound like what is? I've seen her and stuff like thousands of times. God, what is that doggone name? That maid's name. Mm. Mm. Oh, I guess it didn't put her in this list. I'm on Wikipedia right now. I guess they included on the list. They got pretty much everybody else. Uh, God. Well, if you happen to see it, you'll know who I'm talking about when you see her. This is an Asian woman. Is a very funny actress. You've seen her. It's like one of those character actors. You've seen her in a lot of stuff as soon as you see her face. But she comes home. She's like Rex's maid, and as she comes back from dry cleaning his clothes, she see like a sink full of dishes with like, and she got like a frown on her face. I never been comfortable with having like a maid or anything like that. I don't think I ever will. I prefer to handle my stuff anyway. But if anybody does, I mean, like, do you still clean up some stuff just so like your maid doesn't have to just bend over backwards to clean up every nook and cranny? Is because it's like, because part of me feels, because he gives like a disappointing look as you see like a sink full of dishes, and I'm thinking to my first instinct was like, oh well, I don't know what you're frowning for. You the maid, you see dirty dishes, you clean it up, because he's technically a businessman, so he hired you to do these things. But another part of me, feels like, dude, you could, make it easy on her by taking the time out to clean up after yourself at least a little bit, so she doesn't have to come straight over to do more work than she's anticipating. At least lighten her load a bit. It's just really effed up. What's even more effed up is when he got home and he teases her about like deporting her back to Korea, and it's like he was like, I'm just messing with you, like you. It's like, what a complete douche. And then while the three hide in the closet, and the Dale accidentally turned on the gas, they knocked themselves out. They wake up, Rex is gone. They drive back thinking like, well, they dodged a bullet, so like we're not going to do this because we're going to have to figure something else out. Then realizing Rex is in their trunk of the car, he's sent in the ransom note and tacked on an extra zero because they supposed to ransom him for $500,000, but he increases to $5 million. Now, in that moment, I'm thinking to myself, if I was kidnapping somebody to get money back from a guy who swindled me out of money, and I'm trying to avoid being caught, and knowing that even if I pull off this caper where it's like the kidnappee doesn't know who I am or who kidnapped them and everything like that, I had previous dealings with this guy that didn't end well. I will definitely be on the list of suspects police will be looking at, especially if the ransom is asking for a specific amount of money that I just lost out on because of him. So I would have mixed up, these definitely go a little bit higher than $500 million, just to make it look like so it doesn't so we can avoid you being a prime suspect, because it's like you asked for a specific amount of money that you just specifically lost from a guy that you just recently had like a falling out with. And it's like, any decent cop will, I mean, of course they did show up, but any decent cop will, bring you in for question immediately. Because it's too obvious of a coincidence that the ransom was asking for the exact money that you just lost out on with him. But anyway, he tacked on an extra zero to make it $5 million, and he convinced them to go through with their plan. Even go as far as like, disguising their voice, going to a payphone and saying like, don't bring the cops or I'll kill your son. Boo boo. So they come back to their place of business and see the cops already there. This upsets Rex, thinking like his father, and these two are both of him and his father are a piece of works. He's sobbing, thinking like coming to the realization that his father cares more about his own money than his own son. Which further, highlight this by the fact that he instead of the cops like, yeah, don't stay too far away from my money. I need it back. And of course, your son, right? Yeah, you know what I mean. And it's like, wow. It's like, wow. But Rex convincing them to continue forward with this plan, but with him on the inside, he makes sure that they don't get caught and they all come out winners. If they come up with a good plan, they will go. Nick will follow along with them. So they come with an idea of like leading, instructing Bert to go to this bench where they hide a what kind of phone? Burner phone, untraceable phone underneath the bench on a bridge, where he answers it. They direct him further to this underground parking lot, so any tracking signal that's on him or inside his car is disrupted. They kidnap him, but before that, have him read this note, and so that way they'll record it. So Kurt will come disguised, leaving out as Bert, leading them to a basketball stadium where he pulls the drop off, and then he goes into the crowd, takes off his disguise, and disappears in the crowd. So they can make off with the loot with Bert stashed away in the car with a note saying where Rex is. But of course, all that does not go to plan. First and foremost, while earlier in the day when Kurt was supposed to put that burner phone underneath the desk, he got distracted by sexy joggers and he put his own phone underneath the desk by the bench by mistake. And so they decided to call Kurt's phone so he won't look through the information. And I like the fact that I love Katy Perry's songs, and he had the ringtone, which is a nice. It's part of like the it's like a callback, I think, but you call it something else. But it's like early in the movie, he has that ringtone on his phone as a sign, like as like inspirational music for them to as they're going through this business venture together. But the ringtone plays. Bert answers it, and he instructs them to go to the underground parking lot. As they're trying to beat him there, as they're trying to leave out the hotel, Julia pops up after seeing the security camera footage, not only her and Nick having sex, but also the other two sneaking in. She tells him she doesn't really care. She just wants to have sex with Dale finally, and if he doesn't, she'll just blow a lid on everything that's going on here, whatever it is. And Dale asks him like, why me? And she explains this. He's essentially her white whale, the one that actually said no to her for the first time. So she pretty much obsessed. So she comes up with a wacky idea. It's like, okay, we'll just, all three have sex with each other, and but before the night ends, Dale's penis gotta be inside of me. So, they decided, okay, at least Nick and Kurt decided, okay, we're just gonna have to do this, especially Nick's already falling for her, but Kurt just gung ho, just like, hook up. He doesn't really care if he's with his buddies, but it's like they convince him like to go through it, not realizing Dale's wife and three babies like are standing in the door while they just talking about like having sex with Julia. This upsets her. This upsets him. He takes it on Julia by locking her in the bathroom of the hotel as they run out to catch Bert in the underground parking lot. As they meet him there, Rex comes out of the shadows, shoots his own father, completely snapped, given the fact that his own father pretty much like will sell him out over some money. So he decides to just take everything and then frame those three. As he leaves, motherfucker Jones just pop up, talking about like, hop in. If I take you back to the drop off, and he's still walking around, the cops may just believe your ass. So as they drive and trying to race and having the cops following them, they ask like, "What you was doing there?" And they realize like, "Whoa, he like you was there to like take the money." Like, well, he was explaining to them like, I was pretty much honoring you guys' deaths, because in the end, I figured you'll rather have me have the money than him. And he's pretty much like assuming that he was betting on them dying in this whole entire ordeal. So he gets them to the warehouse drop off on time before, or at least at the same time as Rex, and because not only when he's back at the underground garage, he swaps clothes with Kurt, because like he was recording Rex entire conversation about his plan, and it's like he just spilled the beans like, "Don't worry guys, I got this. I got this whole entire thing recorded." It's like, you got a gun on you, dude. He ain't taking it because he was so stupid about like just hold on to that secret until the guy leaves. But he also took his father's jacket just to swap clothes, and well, like he's also walking in blood, so he's swapping clothes with people so that we won't leave like evidence back. And back at the drop-off warehouse, he's still wearing his father's stuff, and it has Kurt's phone. And they come to realize like, wait, he has his father's clothes, which also has the phone that belongs to me and has my ringtone. And it's like, and he calls it and he plays that Katy Perry song, which is a nice little callback. And Rex is like, this is my phone, it's my ringtone. I like Katy Perry. And then the detective asking him, if you had this phone this whole time, why didn't you call the police? And then Rex decides to like just, relents and is like hold the cop hostage, trying to walk out of there. Dale tries to jump in, gets shot in the chest. Luckily, he didn't hit anything vital. but they offer enough of a distraction for the cop to subdue Rex. So in the you know after that ordeal, you know, uh, a few days go by. They lost their business. It got bought up, and uh, but the charges against them were dropped because he went out of the way to save the cop. So they just they may not have saved the business, but they at least don't have to go to jail once again. So Julia, I mean, Dale's wife comes in along with Julia, and his wife explains like, don't worry. Julia explains everything to me. She said, you're the only one who's able to like avoid her advances, and even though she's suffering from a crippling addiction and everything like that. And as she's walking away, and like Julia, tells him like, don't worry, Dale. I won't have to come after you no more. Admits to him like while he was in his coma for a few days, she ends up raping him. Because coma patients still gets erections, and then she whispers to him like, "I'm gonna fuck your wife, Dale." And then like she's walking away, and it's like, Dale's like telling his friends like, "I think she said she's gonna fuck my wife." Gonna. I think she's spent a long time together. I'm surprised they haven't been bumping tacos already. It was a funny exchange. I was like, gonna. It was like, but it was like a nice little funny interaction. Even though Nick's still trying to get her to answer his calls. Like, when did you get her phone number? But the person who bought up the company that they all essentially work for now is Harkness, who somehow bought it up while he's in prison. And like, they was going over some paperwork and everything like that. Everything like, I guess profits are up or like numbers are up or something like that is up. And it's supposed to be like a very big deal, good thing. They go to Harkness in prison and shows them the numbers and everything like that. And it's like, you think this is good? It's like, oh my God, you come in here with some like your big dumb smiles on your faces, and just give them more shit, and they just walk away. It's like, see you later, boss. And like he keeps going, payphone to payphone. It's like while other people are trying to talk to their families behind the glass. It's like, where you going? I owe you. And then like, and the movie ends. I highly recommend this. This is like a great sequel. Is actually like the last one. They wasn't planning on doing any more follow-ups. They didn't want to end up like The Hangover, which I think is a good idea, considering the fact that the first Hangover movie is great. The sequel, all right. Third one was a kind of like a dud. It's like you can't tell anymore. At certain times, it's only a certain amount of times you can tell the same story over. And I didn't think they was gonna come up with any good ideas for a sequel when I heard about a sequel to Horrible Bosses. Like, well, one boss is dead, another's in jail, and the other, like, I'm pretty sure he quit by this point. And it's like, unless they went to some other company and worked for some other shitty bosses or something like that. But no, this is a nice work around that issue. I think there was like a good idea for this sequel, but it's the final sequel, or at least like the only like the two-parter, and that was it. Just two, and that's it. And I'm glad that they decided to make this like the only thing they'll do after the first one. No more plans for another Horrible Bosses, which I think is fine. And I think anymore, or at least even if they decided to do 3, I had hesitation on that. So yeah, just 2. And you can easily, this is a nice little fun flick to watch them back to back. I highly recommend you watch this back to back. If you got this on Amazon Prime, I highly suggest you get the unrated or extended cut of these things, so you can get like the full rated, versions. You'll have a great laugh, great, just it, it'll definitely leave an impression. You'll laugh your butt off. It's fun, just great time. It's just like a great time, especially if you're watching this with a few of your friends or your significant other or whatever. You'll have a good time. But yeah, that is the sequel to Horrible Bosses. My full spoiler review. I think some point, maybe not next week, maybe the week after, I will do. I won't leave it a surprise because I haven't really fully decided which one I want to lean to, but I won't leave this one a surprise. The next movie that I will review. So leave a comments below. Let me know what you think of Horrible Bosses 2. If you've seen it before, what are your thoughts? Did you like it? Did you not like it? It was some pros and cons to it. Anything at all. And don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff to Talkative Carl on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Follow me on my Patreon. That's patreon.com/talkativecarl. Yeah, I will see you guys next time for more movie reviews, spoiler reviews. So take care.